of y'all know what mean. I be went through eating up the beat, bitch. Hand me that tissue, let me clean it up and flip the game.
Welcome back to the JG channel. I'm your host, JG. Guys, remember, we switched the name on the channel. Alright, we switched it. I was kind of feeling something a little different, so we're going to go with 2 letters, JG. Alright. Today, we have my third interview. We're going to keep it going because I got another one I got to do later, too. But we're going to keep it going. We got interview after interview, and I like this. I like this because it gives an insight to, you know, the creator, the insight of what they're thinking, you know, the process behind the scenes that you guys don't see. So it's kind of cool. But nonetheless, today we got MT. So, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Fantastic. So, long story short, we've been trying to get this interview done for how many weeks now? This is weeks or months at this point. I think it's been like a good month and a half maybe that we've been trying to get this done. I've had some personal stuff going on. So I actually stepped away from YouTube for about a month or so just to get stuff situated. But we're back. All right, so we're back. We're going to give my boy, you know, the shine he deserves. And I got 10 fully loaded questions here. So the way we're going to do this is I want you to try and be, you know, just as detailed as you can be. You know, I'll give my opinions. For those of you watching, it's okay to have an opinion. All right? It's okay. Just don't kill me in the comment section if I say something you don't like. All right? And vice versa for something he says, okay? So you come here to watch, you come here for entertainment. That's what it's for. All right? But nonetheless, we're going to start with the first question on my list here. And it's going to be, you know, what do you think about the current state of hip-hop and rap music as a whole genre?
I don't like it. There's not a lot of creativity being shown. There's more like people who sound like somebody else. There's more of that, and it pops up way too much. You know, we want something new, in my opinion. I want somebody to come up and like strike me, you know, do something crazy. I don't know, new artist, new sound. I don't think we're getting that.
No, it's true. I mean, it's part of the reason that I know a lot of the artists that I listen to, quite a few of them are not mainstream artists. They're not people that you wouldn't hear on the radio. You know, I'm listening to Raw Thoughts and Chris Webby. I'm listening to Mercules, Dax, Crypt. Like, I'm listening to a lot of people that are not being showcased, and it honestly feels a lot better because they have a substance they're writing about. Right? It's not the same thing of, you know, hearing Tory Lanez or hearing Joyner or hearing, you know, Eminem or Jid or something like that. Those artists they're mainstream, right? They do what they do to please an audience, right? There's people that please an audience, and there's people that do it for the love of the craft. And the people that do it for the love of the craft are the ones that really put something special into their music. So for me to hear, you know, constant albums and constant songs that repeat the same thing on the same beat, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, and it's frustrating to see people that have talent that literally get overshadowed by garbage, you know, to say the least. You know, and I think a prime example of that, I know we were just, you know, before talking on camera, we had a mutual friend of ours. I went to go see him live in person, you know, on one of his first stage performances, and the crowd was silent. And it kind of upset me because I know lyrically what he can do, and I know his ability to actually be on the mic over the past, you know, years that I've watched him grow. And to see no one really care about that, and then to see some kind of South rapper hit the stage and everyone's going crazy over him saying the same word 47 times, it's frustrating. And, you know, and it's part of the reason that I know right now he's not releasing music, because he's fed up. So I don't disagree at all. And, you know, as an artist of your caliber, you know, right, MT, I've been through quite a bit of different artists on the channel, and, you know, listening myself. You have solidified kind of like not completely rap, but like a twist in like a pop, I guess you would say, like a pop rap hip hop kind of genre, where you have you have the potential to throw some deep bars if you wanted to, but the beat doesn't sound that way in majority of the music that you release. Was that something you were like aiming towards? With trying to like creating your own lane, I guess.
Yeah, part of it is just creating my own lane, and also I'm just still growing with it. So I just find myself in that little pocket, you know. I'm still trying to get out of it, but I love that pocket. And well, yeah, that's just really me, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the process, which actually leads straight to the second question. Second question here. Do you think you found like your true sound?
Mm, I think so. I think definitely. From all these years to this point, I think I've definitely found my sound.
You
Yeah,
think you think
definitely.
you found it where it needs to be?
I think so. There's always time to grow, but right now I feel like I'm confident, you know?
No, it's you should be. You should be as being one of the most untalked about things as being an artist is being confident in your craft, right? Being confident that when you release something, you're not just releasing it to yourself. You're releasing it to hundreds of thousands of millions of people potentially, right? And people are gonna hear it. People are gonna judge you. They're gonna say stuff, and you gotta have the confidence to be like, yeah, I'm gonna keep moving, right? I'm gonna release that next track, and that's it's hard to do that. Like it really is. And on top of already trying to create the song, going through the process of making the song, finding the release date for the song, building the hype for there's actually quite a bit behind just releasing a song because I've been there and I talk to people personally who a couple artists now who are working on albums as we speak, and it's cool to see the process, but it's also very draining, and people don't see that. And like I said, you got to keep that confidence. You got to keep that ball rolling. So for you to find your true sound, um, I know that's difficult because I've had two interviews now, both of them saying they have not found their sound. So for you to say that and for you to kind of be where you need to be, and I see guys, I will link his Spotify down in the description so you guys can go check it out. Go ahead, please give him a follow. But you guys can definitely see on multiple different songs. I've only heard a couple because I gotta save some for the channel, so I've heard a couple, but it's definitely unique, right? It's definitely different, and that's what something we need, right? We need to cut this out with all this mumbo jumbo rap that I keep hearing, for every day and night on the radio at work. It's just crazy. But heading on to our third question here. What's your process for making a song? Do you pick the beat first? Do you do the lyrics first? By the way, sorry, my camera keeps flickering. I see it flickering. So for you
Yeah.
guys watching, I know about it. I'm working on possibly getting a new camera. But my bad. Go ahead.
For me, the process it could it could be different, honestly. Sometimes I make the lyrics before I make the beat or find the beat. Um, and then if I'm gonna make a beat or if I want a beat, I just search for it online or one of my friends has something they haven't worked on and just sends it to me. Um, if I don't want to buy the beat, I just make it myself. I go about it different ways. I start with drums, or maybe I start with the melody. I like to chop up a lot of the sounds, reverse, add some effects, and after that, I just spent like a whole week or maybe even a month just completing the beat. If I want it then and there, I'll complete it in that one night and then just record like a rough draft and re-record throughout the whole week, um, and just keep it for like 2 weeks. Show it to my friends, show it to some people in my other Discord, um, and it's just time consuming, but I love it. That's what it's supposed to be. Music is art. Music takes time. Art takes time. So I definitely like to take my time with it. Um, there's no real way to start or end it. I think it's just go, and just keep the ball rolling, like you said. So yeah, that's how I like to see it. That's how I like to do it.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Seeing different processes. When it comes to making music and putting all that stuff together. As far as beats go and everything, do you create your own beats or do you have someone that does it for you, or how does that work?
Um, well, ever since like 2, 3 years ago, I started making them by myself, just because what's it called? The beat leases and how expensive it is. I spent
Mm-hmm.
like $5,000 or something getting like a couple of beats for an album, and I was like, man, they're good, but like that's a lot of money.
No,
So I just
yeah.
yeah.
No, it's no joke. I mean, I've seen a couple times. I don't know, guys. I think if I'm not mistaken, I have maybe 5 songs released, but maybe five. The most recent one with one of my buddies, which is linked on the channel. Um, but yeah, yeah, finding leases for beats is not cheap at all. Some of them are easily 200, 300. Just to buy the beat because people think it's that good. At the same time, you are valued as an actual artist. So don't get mistaken. Being an artist is one thing, but also creating the craft and being a producer and a mixer is also a craft, right? You're missing the bigger picture. And the people that do that, I admire them. I admire them because not only do you got to think about what you're making, you have to just literally start from scratch. Like you're opening a screen that has no lines on it. You got to put the lines on it. So it's difficult, and I know it's difficult to, I'm sure, click different keys, and you're like, yeah, that sounds good. No, it doesn't. Never mind. Delete. Like, go back. And it's like, oh, it sounds good. Nope. Never mind. Go back. That ain't the one. So it's cool, and I admire those people, and I know one of the more popular people that do that is Hobson. Hobson does create his own beats. He is his own producer, and he's a banger of an underground artist. Um, Again, another person that should be given a lot more attention than he deserves. But that's the price we pay right now in this industry. That's the price we pay for, just being underneath some of these other artists. So it's unfortunate, but that's part of the game. Um, as far as beat making, I don't have that question written down. But as far as beat making, um, what's it called? How did you even start that? Like how long did it take you to create your first beat?
Uh,
You
I remember
gotta
like,
dig deep here.
dude, I used to look at the Nick Miro stuff, and I was like, damn, bro, I want to make something like that. Like I love listening to beats, I love listening to music, but how do you make it? How do you not only hop on, but how do you create it? How to create the sound. And so I used to be super into like Lil Skies or like that melodic scene of rap. So I
Hmm.
searched for Nick Miro stuff, and I searched how to do it, and I kind of followed through with it. The 2, 3 keys, and then the drum patterns. And my first beat was definitely not it. It was trashy. Um, but I just followed with whatever Nick Mira used to do and some of these other producers that were like really popular. Um, yeah, I used to learn that first it was the melody and then it was the drums and the bass, or the bass and the drums. So definitely a trip.
It's definitely a lot. I mean, I know we both of us personally we know Mockton, which I know he's been on the channel a couple times through either reactions or through an interview that I did with him over a year ago. Um, he actually is a producer, and I didn't even know. It took, I guess, I asked him this question during his interview, which you guys can go find it on the channel. You just got to look it up. Um, he said it took him about a good 4 or 5 years of messing with the actual system, just to figure out how to do it the right way. And I know a lot of his music now, it would not surprise me if the music he's releasing has been recorded for 2, 3 years. It wouldn't surprise me. And there's artists that do that. They'll sit on song. I'm sitting on one right now, right? I'm sitting on one that's been done for like a year and a half, and it's like I just haven't found, a reason to really drop it or to put it into something. Um, but it's you sit there and you contemplate a lot of things, right? Is it perfect? Is it not perfect? Am I missing this? Should the voice be higher? Which in the reaction that I did for MT here, I said that. He found, and it pissed me off because he knew that the volume on his voice was just enough to outplay the beat. But, uh-oh. I don't know why I had a random phone call go through. I don't know what's going on. He knew exactly where to put his vocals. And it upset me because it's like, man, like you're at that point where I could almost not hear you, but I do hear you. But it was a lot. It was a lot. But that's his specialty, right? That's his lane. Making sure that that's supposed to be blended correctly. And if it's blended correctly, it'll sound like a symphony. And that's exactly what it did. I mean, it was slightly overpowering, which I said that, slightly overpowering. But for the mixing that it was pretty damn good. So I'll definitely, give you your props on that, man. But you knew what you were doing, because that's the one thing I assess a lot of people on, is being able to not only, listen to the beat and how everything's, mashed together and produced, but the vocals. The vocals are a big part that a lot of people miss, right? They release the song and you can't hear them, or they're way too high, overpowering the beat. It is one critical thing that people can't necessarily seem to get right. Especially if you're a smaller artist and you're still trying to find how you sound. Yeah, you could easily over the power of the beat. I've been there, trust me. I've been there. But we're going to go on to the fourth question here. What truly keeps you going when making music?
Damn. How far I can take it. What more can I do? Like, how can I impact somebody? And just how far can I go with it, What else can I do to music? How can I change the industry, if I ever get there, which you have to believe, truly. What keeps me going as well is a couple of homies. I mix for them, I make beats for them, and honestly, with their push, they push me, and we just kind of motivate each other, as well as I want this to be not only my the thing in my life, but I also want it to be my career. I don't see myself doing anything else but music, from beats to everything, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is, as I can't even, I don't know what it's like, 'cause I haven't focused on music like that, as an artist. I've done it purely for fun. Like, for the most part, majority of my music is for fun. And I know he knew that, because my first actual song, he was there. So I still remember till this day, we were in the library, in a soundproof room that they had recently built. And it was me, him, and we had, I think, 2 other people. There was 4 of us in the room. I didn't know what I was doing. And, guys, I know it's embarrassing, but if you want me to, I'll link it down below. The song, it's like, what, 6 years old now? It has to be at least like 6 years old by now. I sound terrible. just point blank period, I sound terrible. Let's just get that out the way. But to be sitting here, and to see someone, and I've said this about a lot of things, if you see someone in your life that's doing something that you wish you could do and succeeding at it, it makes you think, right? It makes you think, like, what did I miss? Like, how did this happen and I didn't figure it out, but you did? One of 2 things. Number 1, you don't got the skill, point blank period. That's the first thing, all right? Or number 2, you just lost interest. I think that's probably the biggest thing that happens with new artists. They make a couple songs, they see it doesn't get a lot of plays because of the way the industry is right now, and they just get out. You get up and walk away. They're like, yeah, that's enough. I'm done. In a situation like this, where I know you've spent years, honing your editing skills, honing your craft, honing your ability to do stuff. And even then, when I made that song with you 6 years ago, you already knew most of what you were doing. So at that point, all you were doing is just polishing for the next couple of years, out of high school, your talents. So now you're young and you have the ability to keep moving. and he's got numbers, guys. He's got plays on Spotify with what, over 50,000 on one of your songs. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got plays. He's moving. So all it really is now, truthfully, which is just the way music works, you just need one song to blow. That's literally what happens. You get one to blow, and it's like holy cow. We all seen that with Juice World when Lucid Dreams came out. He was just, oh my gosh, that song Beyond just boosted him to literally Fantasia. Or XXX when Sad came out, same thing. It boosted the hell out of him. But it's just, you're just waiting for that one song. And I think it sucks knowing, I'm sure you probably feel this too, you don't know what song it is. Like you could be sitting there and you can make like 20 songs and they all sound good, but you're like, I think it's this one. Nope, it might be that one. Like you just don't know. And I know that's probably like a very frustrating process, 'cause it's like, man, I think I got it. And I'm sure, did you even think gospel was gonna get that many, plays on Spotify like that?
Nah, I thought that was gonna be too personal for people to like, but something personal might even relate to somebody else.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of the music that I listen to. A lot of the music I listen to. That's a big reason why I listen to Dax. Majority of Dax's music is it's personal. It'll definitely pull at your strings. It'll make you think. It'll make you sit there, and I'll be honest, I've cried to one of his songs. It's just that impactful. Like when you have music like that does, actual good damage to you, you want to keep listening to it. Like you want to hear something that has value. Like I said, that's majority of the music that I listen to is, stuff that, it hits deep. It hits deep at reality. Because I'm tired of, hearing stuff about this party on this or do this on this, and I'm out with my homies and there's like 37. I don't care. Like I really don't care. Tell me something that needs to be heard. Right? Tell me something that is going to make me think twice about why I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing right now. Like, is there something else I should be doing? Is there something more I should be thinking about? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, the music has definitely helped. It's helped me in my life on a lot of things. I'm sure it's helped you, in your life with a lot of stuff. That's just the beauty of music. Let's see here. We're question 5. Are there any songs that you have recorded that hit you personally hard?
Plenty. There's a lot of songs.
You crying?
No.
I mean, I did once. That song it's in my archive. It was posted and then Spotify just snatched it off and just got rid of it. I still have it, but I do have one song that I did actually create and was crying at the same time of creating it. So he's like, man.
There's plenty of songs. I usually get into my deep feels in one night and just don't sleep and just create the song and just kind of almost cry to it. Just feel like huddled up and anxious and shit. And just throughout that whole time where I'm recording or making it, throughout that whole week where I feel like super depressed, I definitely feel it, feel like a little stab in the heart when I'm making it. I'm like, fuck, for a lot of songs, to be honest. A lot.
It's
usually the sad ones, yeah.
No, I mean it's what you need. You need that therapy, right? And a lot of things that are a lot of things that happen or people don't talk about is us as I would say as men, right? We typically don't have an outlet, right? We typically don't have someone we can really talk to about serious stuff, because a lot of our guy friends are just gonna really just don't care. Right? If I'm just being honest, they really just don't. They either don't care or they don't know what you're going through, and most of the time, depending on what kind of friends you have, they're just not gonna bat an eye. So you have to sit there and just contemplate to yourself and deal with it. And this is why in this generation a lot of people are having depression. You know, depression's at an all-time high, and that's because we don't talk to each other, right? We sit there in our own fields. We sit there and, you know, think thoughts that are very bad, and we do things we regret, and that's just, you know, the way it goes. So that's why, you know, I just left a group of 10 people when I moved out here about 10 months ago or so, or moved out to my new place. I truthfully only have one or two people I talk to. There's only one or two. And I said this, I think, on yesterday's video during a reaction. It is okay to tell another man, especially someone that you really care about, that you love them, right? It is okay to have that interaction with someone because it means something, right? You know, and I have one of my best friends, really my only best friend for the most part. You know, I have told him, you know, it's like, you know, man, you know, I love you, right? You know, and it's like you feel that, right? Because you actually have someone that cares. So whether as opposed to, I'd rather have that one good friend over 20 garbage friends. That's just the way that I would have it. I'm sure you probably feel the same way. It's a hard thing to do, right? It's a hard thing to make music that not only is going to hit you hard, but you can't really talk about it, you know, unless you have one lucky friend that, you know, will listen. But like I said, in this generation, that's very rare to come by. It's very rare to have someone that really cares. Wow, he's got a cat on him, you know. That's probably his one true friend. But hey, I love my dog. I got 2 ferrets. I got a turtle. I mean, I love all my animals. Yeah, man, I got a dog. Well, the ferrets were the ferrets were a high school relationship situation that never ended well. So I kept them because I knew she was gonna go party, and that's exactly what she did. So I took the adult route, right? I took the adult route, I guess you could just say. But yeah. So but definitely yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, I haven't gone through your whole catalog yet, just, you know, for reaction purposes. But I'm sure there's going to be songs that are probably a little difficult. You know, if I listen to them, which I like listening, and I like lyrics. I'm a very lyrical listener. So when I come across it, you know, I'll point it out when I get there. But it's good to know that you're you know, putting more you know, personal issues or personal matters in your own way into music. So, you know, it's definitely good to get that out.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Where we at here? Number 6. We're already half hour in. Damn. It was perfect timing because that was question 5, so around 6. Who is an artist that you look up to and why?
Damn.
You think did you think I was gonna make these questions easy, bro? By the way, he did not hear any of these questions before the start of the video. This is a disclaimer. He didn't hear anything. So I asked him one question, which was a little unrelated, but besides that, he heard none of these questions. So he's got to think on the fly. This is the first interview. You got to think on the fly, man.
Shit, that's a question that's been on my mind ever since high school or middle of high school. It used to be when I started. It used to be Logic, and then it moved on to be Lil Skies. Lil Skies, the Juice WRLD, mostly Lil Skies. I spent like my whole middle school and high school listening to them, as well as Fora. And after that, I just kind of stopped listening to music for a little bit, and I was like, bro, why am I looking up to these people? You know, I could look up to myself as like an image of myself on a stage, in a really crazy place, you know. And that's, as of lately, what I've been seeing myself as. That's really what's keeping me inspired. Me as a bigger artist. But definitely, I still keep it in mind, you know, for Lil Skies, in the back of my mind, you know. Logic as well. Damn.
That's probably one of the most humble answers I've heard, from a question that comes like that. Which I wrote this at work. All right, I was at work creating these questions. No, it's one of the most humblest answers because you always hear, you know, I heard Mockton, his person was Bruno Mars. Interestingly, that kind of threw me off guard. And I know I did an interview with Yagi, and Yagi had can't remember one of the rappers' names. It wasn't a common rapper, but it was a rapper. But to say yourself, that's a mentality. I'll give you that. That's a mentality. Believing yourself, right? If you believe in yourself and you think it and you dream it, right? I mean, I don't know if how many of you are ever, or you know, how many people are gonna watch this, but it took me 10 YouTube channels to finally get one to get to almost 3,000 subscribers, which is where we are today. It took me learning policies. It took me learning different methods, different, you know, tags, different trends. And I'll be honest, it's a pain. It's a real pain. But I believed in myself. So if you believe in yourself and you believe in your ability, you gonna make it. You know, plain and simple. But for you to say yourself, that's wild. You know, that's crazy. And I would hope that even just that comment alone, it makes you think about the people you're around. You know, it makes you think about, you know, are your friends even remotely close to the kind of mindset that you have or that you're pertaining to? And that's another part of the reason that I had to, you know, distance myself from the group of friends that I had. Because, you know, me being as old as I am, and, you know, I'm the only one that has a passport, the only one that drives a stick shift and a motorcycle, the only one that sits here on a YouTube channel, has a son. Well, another person has a what's it called, a kid as well. But no one can touch where I'm at for being the age that I am. And it's important to keep that mentality. It's important to put yourself in those shoes. And I feel like, you know, especially as an artist, me only making a couple of songs, I've had writer's block on 6 songs. So it's not meant for me, clearly. If I got writer's block with making like 6 songs, it's not meant for me, all right? I'll do it once in a while for a cameo or something, which I think that's what's going to happen now. I'm become a cameo. So if somebody wants me on a track, let me know. We'll do a little cameo. But as far as making albums and stuff, I don't know about all that, coach. I don't know about all that. No, but it's definitely, you know, it's good to have that. It's definitely good to have that. You want anything you want to add to that?
I wanted to add something to that one question. What keeps me going?
Yeah.
Because I just remembered, and there was I don't want to be old. Looking back in my past, wishing that I continued what I stopped doing, and seeing somebody who's successful with it, and I'm just sitting there like, damn, I could have been that. I could have done it. I could have, if I just continued, you know. Kind of like Kendrick when he said you could do it 1, 2, 3, or I don't know if it was Kendrick. An artist said 1, 3, 4 times. And you never know. The next time, it might be your time. I think it was J. Cole. He said that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Which, I think even J. Cole doesn't get the recognition he deserves. But, you know, it's, again, that's part of the industry we're in. Yeah, I mean, it's a give and take situation. It's a real give and take situation. And, you know, it sucks because I know I've already been through harsh endings of, you know, a good friendship, and it hurts. It definitely hurts when you sit there and, you know, you have to make a choice, and the choice at the end of the day is, are you going to choose yourself, right? And if you choose yourself, you better keep moving, right? You better figure it out, because then if you don't, then you're going to look even more stupid. So it's like, you know, you do it, and, you know, at some day when they come back and they look at you and they're like, man, you really did that. And I'm like, yeah, I did, right? And part of it is I didn't have a choice, right? I have a son right now, so a lot of my stuff right now is for my son. It's not for me, but I'm doing it also because I believe in myself, right? I believe in my ability. Yeah, man, good stuff. So this is probably going to be a harder question here. Have you thought about stopping, and why?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty of times. Um, damn. Like in high school, uh, between middle school and high school, I was dealing a lot with like depression and shit. I definitely dove too deep to the edge at times, and at times I kind of just lost it. You know, I didn't want to continue. I just wanted to stop. Um, I didn't even feel interested in music. I was like, man, what the fuck? Why am I doing this? You know, and I used to tell people, you know, I'm gonna stop. I used to even tell my audience, I'm gonna stop. I'm done with this shit. And just for me to, you know, kind of find that therapy pocket and just come back. And I'm like, damn, I can't fucking leave this. And it happened plenty of times. I'd say like 4 times during my whole career. And as of lately, uh, I just tell myself, dude, if you think about it, if you think about quitting, sit down, bro. Like go for a walk. Just leave the music to the side. Don't attach yourself to it for right now, and just do something else. Cause you're gonna fuck this whole thing up for yourself if you don't, you know, take a break, a breather. But yeah, definitely a lot of times I've been close to there. Yeah.
And I tell people too, you know, I just because I find YouTubers too that are smaller, you know, just starting out and everything, and I see them posting, you know, multiple times a day or doing this, and you know, just they're doing too much. And what happens with doing too much is you lose control, right? You lose that balance. You lose what's it called? You lose the credibility. You lose a lot by just doing it too much.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to slow down. Like if you do not slow down, you're gonna burn out. And you know, I told one of the YouTubers that was just starting out, he was gaining a lot of subscribers. He had like 200 subscribers in a week. Yeah, so he was moving. And he just stopped. And he didn't post anything for like 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then I'm like, you good, man? Because now the problem with that is you just created, you know, a flow of people that were with you that whole time. And the second you didn't say anything and you just, now everyone's just like what happened, right? What the hell happened? And then you got to redo it all over just because you took that one time to fall off. And
Yeah.
I tell people, you know, when you're making YouTube videos and everything, you know, I've learned over, you know, I think I got like 200 videos on this channel. I've learned over my videos or whatnot, a lot of them are recorded and they're not released for a couple days. And I do that on purpose because if I do it every day, you're going to expect it every day, right? If I do it every other day or something, you'll be like, oh, that's about right. It makes sense, you know, decently long video. There's got to be a balance, right? Or if I'm busy, I have a weekend, I go out or something, I already have videos recorded. So I don't really have to leave or do anything. All I got to do is click live and they're posted. I'm not even home. I'm probably at a restaurant. But it's just being smart about it, right? It's being, you know, putting stuff together. So like this interview is, you know, being recorded right now is March 19th. I might release it today. I might release it tomorrow, right? Because I posted 3 videos in the past 2 days. That's a lot for me, for my channel. So maybe take a day, release it tomorrow on Thursday, and then I might release a reaction with it, so you guys have 2. If not, you know, I'll just feel it out, see how it goes. But it's important to take a break, right? You know, take a break from it, but don't lose it. So you can definitely take a break, you know, take a breather, but don't lose the focus, right? Don't lose the focus. And I tell everybody, and this includes you, whichever artist that I interview gets famous, all I want is my dream car. All right, that's all I want. All right, you could keep the house, you could keep the mansion. I don't care. I just want a '69 Camaro in all black. That's all I want. As long as you could do that, we're good. As long as you could do that, we're good.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
All right, let's see here. This would be an interesting one. How long is your song making process?
It ranges.
Because I know I said before about like making a beat and everything, but this is like time frame. Like when you make a song, roughly does it take you like what, 3 months to complete it, 2 months, a week, a year? I mean, shit, I got songs that taken a year to freaking to fully record.
A month, 2 months, you know. You gotta get, you gotta let it sit there, marinate. You gotta leave it to the side at times and just let your ears just kind of have a break, come back to it, and then you restart again. And you're like, okay, this needs this needs that. So it takes about 1 month, 2 months.
1 or 2 months to do that, and and everybody's different. Everybody's different. Like I said, Mockton being an artist, I know he's sitting on songs that are 2-3 years old, right? It just depends on the person, right? It depends on what they're doing and what your plan is. So if you're recording songs every month or two, I mean, I think that's a good balance, right? Or taking a month or two per song, whatever it may be. As far as an album goes, I know this ain't on the what's it called? It's not on my question sheet, but I just added it in my mind as I'm sitting here. This is why I like doing this without a script, because I can just think about stuff and keep moving. As far as the album making process, how long do you think an album should be? How many songs? That I have kind of mixed. I got mixed emotions on this topic, but I kind of just want it from like an artist perspective. Like, what do you feel is a good amount of songs to put on an album for something?
Like 15 songs in there.
Like 15.
Might let's say 14, 15. With some voice lines and stuff in there. Definitely.
That's what you think about 14, 15?
15, 16, yeah.
You ready to hear my crazy ass opinion?
Let me hear it.
10 or less.
10 or less? Damn, what the fuck?
10 or less. Here's why, right? Hear me out. Hear my reasoning, all right? 10 or less, each song at minimum has to be 3 minutes long. At minimum.
Okay.
Right? So I'm looking at quality over quantity, number one. A lot, I'm sure you've seen on the video too, when I was talking about it. But you good?
Yeah, my bad. My pops is in here, so just let him do his thing for a little bit.
Very good. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Something about an album being 10 songs.
Right. So, I know you guys seen on the reaction. If you guys watched the gospel reaction, I'll leave it down below. Personally, it's a preference. I prefer that any song I listen to is at least 3 minutes long. I feel that it gives you enough time to get into the song. It gives you enough time to hear the beat. It gives the artist enough time to show themselves. Right? Anything below that, you got to be absolutely completely fire. Like, everything has to be super blended, super perfect. Beats got to go crazy. And what that does, I think, is put a high expectation. And I think as an artist, no matter who you are, you shouldn't have a super high expectation, right? It's your music, right? I mean, of course people are going to be like, well, I expect this. At the same time, things change, right? You grow up, you have different sounds, you have different beats. Like, when people are upset right now because of the new Shrek 5 trailer, because of the way the animation looks. And it's like, dude, there hasn't been a Shrek in 15 years. Like, you can't be upset that they just spent how many years creating something new. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing goes for, being an artist. You can't get upset when they try a new flow. Like, they're still... You want them to have that flow, right? You're going to complain that they're not doing enough and that they're the same, but then you're going to complain more when they change the flow. So it's like, pick your poison here. Are you going to give them a chance? Like, you're going to let them try something new? It's a problem. It's definitely a problem, because then you change the flow and you might lose half your audience just by changing the flow. So it's insane. And I think the biggest thing that we've seen that recently with a shift like that was Eminem. When his last album was, what was it called? Murder? Something Murder? I forgot what it was called. but something murder, right? It was released like 5 years ago. That album was pure new Eminem, what people are used to, right? He releases the Death of Slim Shady, and everything completely does a 180, right? His flows are straight back to 2000. Everything is changed, and people are like, "Well, I don't know how I feel about this." Then don't ask for Slim Shady. It's just that simple, right? And on a brighter note, yeah, the album did well, but there was a lot of reviews and stuff that I've read from people that were pissed. They were like, "Oh, this ain't him," or "He should do this." Majority of the audience wanted the old Slim Shady. That's what they wanted. He gives it to you. You complain that there's an issue, it doesn't sound right, something's off. Like, come on. Find that balance, right? Find that balance.
Facts.
Question 9 here. Is it surreal that you're an artist and make music?
It feels like that sometimes. When I usually, well, I spend most of my time, most of my day just whenever I can, most of my nights as well, just recording, making music, just posting it, getting into, writing who I am and posting my bios, posting my other stuff, doing my lyrics, syncing them, doing everything myself. And it sometimes feels like I'm like different, I'm a different person. I'm not me, sometimes I dive into the being an artist so much to the point where I forget that I'm even myself at times. It feels surreal in a way where I don't know how to explain. Like, it's crazy,
It kind of like man, it like puts you in like a separate character, I guess you could say, and you don't even realize it. And even my guy Dax in one of his songs, he says, I've been Dax so long, when someone says my real name, I get PTSD, and it's because you're thinking about stuff, that like it is you technically, it is yourself, but it's not yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's that like shell of the next person that you have over, and no, it's definitely it's an interesting concept, because it's like in a way you're acting, right? In a way, you're you're being this separate person and you don't even realize it. You're like, man, I'm like, oh, well, my name is yada yada yada, but I go by MT. That's what most people call me or whatever. It's just it's surreal, right? You lose, the person that or not lose, but you fade away a lot of the person that you were, and sometimes it can be good, and sometimes it could be bad. It's a 50-50 shot. Right now, I don't think you guys realize, being a YouTuber, it is hard to keep content going. It is hard, man, to put stuff on and to turn around and it says it was posted 2 weeks ago. You're like, dude, I was just there. I was just sitting there recording it. And like, well, I'm telling, watch, you're going to go back and look at this reaction and be like, damn, I did that 2 weeks ago already? Because that's the way time flies. And it pisses me off, if I'm being honest. It's like, damn, man, I just finished this. But at the same time, it keeps you motivated. It keeps you hungry. It keeps you in that mindset where it's like, man, if I just keep moving, I'm good. I just got to keep moving, keep it grooving. But no, it's definitely cool to see, some artists that, they take their personality pretty serious. They take their artistry pretty serious. I know Hopsin's one of them. He takes being himself very seriously. And he should. Right, he should, and to an extent, I see, from my personal thing, from what I've seen from him, it's a coping mechanism. Right, I know he's been through a lot. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hopsin, but he is an artist that has gone through a lot. He's gone through a lot of trauma, has gone through a lot of stuff, and you could see that in his music. He has a great way of portraying what he's been through in his music. But you could clearly tell the difference from him being Marcus to Hopsin. There's a clear difference, and you'll see he's happy as hell being Hobson. And when he goes down to Marcus, that's where he kind of shuts down. And you really don't know, again, what we were talking about earlier, talking about men and, difficulties. You don't know what he's going through, and I doubt he's really talking to anybody about it. So it's a tough situation. It's definitely a tough situation. But I like that. I admire that about artists that are able to do that. They're able to go back and forth. They're able to put aside at the same time who they are on stage and who they are in person. And the people that do that, it's just so cool, because it shows, not like the humanity, I guess, or the kindness that they hold. Just being a person, that they can separate, from being an artist to being, who they really are. Let's see. We're on the last question, which is almost perfect time. We're 50 minutes in. We're on the last question here. I know you just released an album not that long ago. Right? How long ago?
Yeah.
Was it a couple months ago or so?
But yeah, a couple months ago. Honestly, I already forgot.
See, but that's how fast time flies. It's a prime example. You're releasing, like, didn't I just post it? Nope, 6 months ago. Already, it's like, damn. Well, the next question was, when can we expect new music after the album? Oh wait, I didn't even. Hold on. Rewind. I lost my train of thought earlier. This is gonna tie into this hopefully perfectly. I was saying, albums, 10 songs, 3 minutes, right? Here's the reason. On top of them being quality in 3 minutes and only 10 songs, if you're an artist that constantly records, you should constantly have music to drop. Which means if you constantly have music to drop, I'd rather you give me 10 songs that are good. Keep those other songs, there's 30, 40 songs, whatever you would, keep them. And post them one by one every month until the next album. So not only does it keep you relevant, but it also shows your ability to stay afloat at the same time. I feel like if you're an artist that could do that, and I know there's only a couple that do it. There's not many, but there's a couple that do it. I think it's better, because you're keeping yourself relevant. You're keeping something fresh on the page, and every month something is hitting, something's hitting. You put those 10 out. You got maybe, like I said, once a month for 11 months. If you release an album once a year, that's only 11 songs. 11 songs for some artists, they record in a week. Depending on the person, maybe 2 weeks at most. So you're sitting on a massive catalog, right? And at the same time, if you want to go back to those albums, create a deluxe. Go from 10 to 15, right? Like what you're saying, 10 to 15. At the same time, though, you still have music. So I feel like it gives you the ability to stay relevant while still releasing a good amount of quality tracks for your listeners. So that's part of the reason that I think a lot of the artists should have about 10 song albums, 12 max, but it's like 10 I think is a sweet spot. So I don't know if you're gonna put that in consideration, but he's like, hey, you got me thinking now. So I might put something in his head, but that's what we're here for, right? We're here to talk and give each other's opinions. But with that being said, yes, when can we expect new music?
New music. I think after putting music videos out, that's something I'm working on right now. I gotta go to a couple of places around America and record with some people, because those music videos should have been done like 3 years ago or so, and I think it's time to finally do it. After
3 years ago? That's a little outdated, don't you think?
Hey, the songs are good though, so fuck it.
Hey, true. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. I get it. So when are we expecting new music then? Like maybe a couple months?
Maybe like half a year, maybe a year. Right now I'm just gonna work on, this little thing I got going on, and the music videos.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Actually, last question here, because I'm curious. Technically, it's none of my business, but just because I'm
Yeah.
curious, have you gotten money yet from your music?
Yeah, yeah.
Like just
The
because
first-
I'm curious, cause I'm like I know how it works because I've gotten a couple bucks for my music, which I don't know how, but I know, seeing you got 50 something thousand plays on a song. I mean, disclaimer, he's not gonna say anything on camera. I know he won't, but yeah, I'm sure he got a decent penny for for 50,000 plays, and I'm sure it's definitely helping out, behind the scenes that you guys don't see. But yeah, I mean, you're copping some good money from music now. Well, not good, but enough.
It's decent. Whenever you need like gas or something, you just take some out.
Just
I
gas.
used to use that. Yeah. Yeah.
Must be
And
nice.
I mean, sometimes,
I take premium, so yeah. Yeah,
damn, not me.
yeah. I drive a Subaru WRX, so yeah, I take
Shit.
premium. It's not fun. trust me. And I bought that thing when gas was at premium at like $5.40 or something. It was ridiculous. I was spending like $80 on a full tank of gas. It was insane.
Oh.
He said, "Now it's funny because when you grow up, you don't realize how much those cents mean at a gas station until you're an adult, and
Yep.
and you see it 10 cents cheaper down the road. I'm going down the road for 10 cents cheaper. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It helps.
It definitely helps. Now, what I have noticed, I don't mean to call you out here, but what I have noticed during the interview, you seem kind of introverted.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely am.
I could tell, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just who you are. Yeah, I mean, I could tell this is probably a little bit out of your comfort zone, but that's part of taking opportunities, right? That's part of life, and I know you guys will see it soon. I've been doing some work on my merch on my website, which it'll be relaunched probably at the end of the month. And the first thing I'm gonna order, which if you want, I could get you one too. It's a simple shirt. Pretty much, I got like 6 colors on it. Simple quote, which I love the quote. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Right? And I've lived my life like that for pretty much since the beginning of the year. Right? Putting yourself in situations that you normally wouldn't. Just because at some point you're gonna have to, and you got to be okay with it, right? You got to be willing to take a risk, because you don't know the outcome if you don't take it. So that's one of the bigger quotes that I really love on my merch shirt. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Also with another one I have in my closet, which is the only one in production. Break the cycle. So if you're in a family, that has not the best history of trying to build a new type of wealth, for your next generation, that's what that shirt is meant for, right? It's meant to break the cycle. So it's 3 words: break the cycle. I have it in my closet. You guys need to just think about that, right? You need to. The whole purpose that I created a clothing brand was to just help people understand, if you just do it and just not think twice, you're going to go a lot further than you think. And it's important for anyone watching, and for you as well. I know we haven't really talked over the past 4 or 5 years or so. We recently reconnected, because I've seen one of his songs pop up, and I think I messaged you first. I'm not sure. I think I did. But it's good to be around people, because the more successful people you're around, the more success you're gonna find. That's an actual statistic. That's proof. So as long as you stay around those people, and you talk to them, you get their opinion, you work together, you could really accomplish anything. Like, you really can. And I, seeing that, and I was frustrated. I don't know if you've seen. I was frustrated when I lived 2 houses over, during high school, when it was a group of kids, which I know I'm not gonna name them, but there was a group of kids that lived a couple of houses over. It was like 5 of them. A couple months ago, all 5 of them were in Dubai, driving Lambos, driving Rolls Royces, and it makes you question. It makes you question. I was 2 houses over while they were having meetings in high school, you know, planning the future ahead. Now I'm the one here sitting here doing YouTube videos while 4 of them are in a penthouse. One of them is close to a millionaire at my age, and they got nothing to worry about. And you might know who I'm talking about, you might not. But those people it just makes you think, right? If it's somebody that you know, especially, you know, I was talking to one of them that I sat next to in history class, right? I watched him, I played football with him, right? You see someone right next to you this whole time that just all of a sudden they're almost a self-made millionaire. Like it makes you think. It's like, dude, what the hell am I missing? But at the same time, you got to take your own path, right? You got to take your own journey. And my journey, you know, took a little detour, but you know, I had a son, and I'm still grateful for my son. Very grateful to have a child. It's a blessing, right? It's a blessing in disguise, because with my son being born, there's a lot of stuff that I forced myself into, being comfortable with that uncomfortable. That it's made me realize a lot of things. It's made me realize my friends, my attitude towards stuff, the way that I talk, my tone. Like there's just a lot of stuff that's changed. But for you, MT, we got a lot of catching up to do. So I know me and you will probably talk, you know, here and there, just to see how each other is doing, and that's perfectly fine. I don't mind talking to anyone at all. I actually prefer to talk to more people nowadays. I really do.
For sure.
But with that being said, wow, we just passed over an hour. So we're at an hour and a minute or so, hour and 2 minutes. So it's been an hour-long interview, which is about right. I intend my interviews to be about an hour or so. So again, I don't know if this is going to be posted today, the 19th, or if it will be tomorrow or Friday. I don't know. But I do know it's now in my catalog. Ha ha. I got you there. All right. But if you guys are new around here, be sure to hit that like. Be sure to hit that subscribe. I'll link MT's Spotify down below so you guys can go check out his music and give him a follow. But with that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.